What's up VideoFort Nation, this is VideoFort Ruan with another awesome VideoFort tutorial. Okay, so in this video we're going to be looking at animation and keyframes within After Effects. So first of all, let's create a new composition. So right click in your project area, click on new composition, and I'm going to use the HDTV 1080 25 frames a second preset, and let's use a duration of 10 seconds, then click on OK. And first of all, let's create a new text layer. So right click here at the bottom, select new, and then click on text. Let's just type something here. Let's type move. Okay, what you're going to do, click on that layer, and with the selection tool, just move that into the center of your composition. So in After Effects, you can set up animation and keyframes for every parameter basically that you can edit. So if we expand our text layer and we go to transform, you'll see that there's a position parameter here that we can change the position of this text layer. If you move it around, you'll see here at the bottom that these numbers will change. So we're going to set a keyframe basically at the first frame of our animation, and then we're also going to set a keyframe at the end, and then After Effects will fill in all the blanks. So let me show you what I mean. So make sure that your playhead on your timeline is set to the first frame, and we're going to move our text to the side of our composition, and then next to the position parameter you'll see there's a little stopwatch. Now if we click this stopwatch, it will actually create a keyframe, and on your timeline you'll see a little yellow diamond, and that indicates that there is a keyframe created there. So let's drag the playhead over to the end of our animation, and I'm going to click on the text and just move it over to the side, and you'll see that a keyframe will be created automatically on your timeline. Because we changed the value of that position, a keyframe will be created, and also because that stopwatch was enabled. So let's just scrub through the timeline, and you'll see that the animation was actually filled in. And if we hit spacebar, then you'll see that we've got a little animation going on. Okay, so let's say we want to speed this animation up. What you can do is you can actually drag these keyframes around as well. So let's say we want to complete the animation within 2 seconds. So go to around 2 seconds on your timeline, and then just drag the end keyframe, drag it across to that location on your timeline, and let's go back to the beginning, press spacebar, and you'll see that your animation plays a lot quicker now. Okay, let's move that end keyframe over to 1 second. So let's just try and position it under the 1 second mark, play that back, and you'll see you've got quite a quick animation. Let's animate the scale parameter. So at the beginning of our animation, we're going to click on the stopwatch next to scale, and then we're going to set the scale to around 50%. So just click on your 100% and type in 50, hit enter. Now let's go to the middle, about 30 seconds into the animation. Let's set our scale to 100. So just type in 100, press enter. You'll see that a keyframe will be created. And if I play this back, you'll see that the scale will change from 50 to 100, and it will move to the side. Okay, so let's say we want to go back to the starting scale that we've got in here. So we can either go to this keyframe and we can set this down to 50, or what you can do, you can actually copy this keyframe. So if you just drag a little box around that keyframe, or if you click on the keyframe and on your keyboard press Command C or Control C, go to the location where you want to paste it, and then press Command V or Control V, and then it will actually paste that keyframe value into that location. So if you play it back, you'll see it will scale up to 100% and then down to 50% again. Okay, let's add a rotation as well. So hit the stopwatch next to rotation, and then right at the end of our animation at 1 second, I'm just going to change the value of the rotation. So let's just spin that around to around 360. Let's just type it in. So click on the value, type in 360, press enter. Let's play that back, and you'll see you've got a nice little simple animation. Let's just zoom into our timeline a little bit more. Here at the bottom you'll see a little slider, and if you slide it over to the right hand side, it will zoom into your timeline, so you can just work a little better with the space provided. Okay, let's say we want to make this animation start off slowly and then go quicker and then end kind of slowly into these keyframes. What we can do, we can add an easy ease to these keyframes. So what you can do is you can select all these keyframes like that, and then you right click on one of them, click on Keyframe Assistant, and then select Easy Ease, or you can use the shortcut F9, and that will create Easy Ease keyframes, and if we play this back now, you'll see that it will ease into those keyframes. Okay, let's delete this layer. Let's start with a fresh one. So we're going to create a new solid. So right click, new and solid. And let's choose a dark blue color. Click on OK and OK again to confirm that. And I want to go into this composition and I want to animate the opacity. So currently that opacity is set to 100. And let's see if we can do something with that. So on the first frame, I'm going to hit the stopwatch and I'm going to leave the opacity at 100. And let's go over to about 5 seconds. And I'm going to drop the opacity to 0. Okay, let's go to the first frame and play that back, and you'll see that the opacity will actually change from 100 down to 0 over 5 seconds. Let's just minimize those parameters and create one more layer. So click on new and create a text again, and let's just type something. There we go. Let's just position that in the center of our composition, and let's place that below the solid. So just drag that layer underneath, and let's play that back from the beginning. And now you can see that it's actually revealing the layer below that because we're changing the opacity. Okay, let's delete our solid layer. So click on the solid layer, hit delete on your keyboard, and I want to apply a blur effect to this text. So I'm going to right click on this layer, go to effect, go to blur and sharpen, and then I'm going to click on fast blur. And then here at the top, I want to animate the amount of blur or the blurriness of this effect. So we're going to start at 0 and make sure you're on frame 0 as well. And you can also click the stopwatch here at the top next to blurriness. So click that. And then let's go over to about 1 second. And let's set that blurriness to, let's set it to around 100. So just type in 100, press enter. And then let's go over to about 2 seconds on the timeline, and let's set that blurriness down to 0 again, press enter, and if we play this back, you'll see that the blur will increase to 100 and then it will come down to 0 again. Okay, we can also animate the color of our text. So to do that, you want to expand your text layer here, and then for a text layer, you'll have this animate section here on the side, and if you click that, you can go in here and you can animate quite a few different parameters for text. So we want to go and we want to change the full color, and we want to use RGB values. So click on RGB, and that's going to open up the full color for us. And when you click on this rectangle here, you can set your color. So let's set it back to blue and click OK. And then we're going to click the stopwatch next to the full color. Okay, let's go over to around 2 seconds and let's change this to red. Hit OK. And let's play that back. So you'll see it will actually gradually change the color from blue to red. Quite cool. Okay, so what else can we do? Let's add another effect to this text layer. So right click, go to effect, and let's add a glow effect. So go to stylize and then glow. And then I want to animate the intensity of this glow. So make sure you're on the first frame and hit the stopwatch next to glow intensity. And let's change the starting value to 1. Okay, then go to around 2 seconds, and then we want to change the intensity to around 100. And let's also change the radius. So go back to the first frame, hit the stopwatch next to glow radius, and leave that at 10. Let's go to 2 seconds on our timeline, and let's change the radius to, let's say, to around 400 or something. Let's type in there 400, hit enter. Okay, let's play that back. And we've got an interesting effect going on there. Let's say you want to go in there and change some of those keyframes. So what you can do, let's just move this up a little bit so we've got some space to work with here in the timeline. If you expand your text layer, you'll see all these dots. So you'll see we've got some dots under effects, and if we expand effects, and you'll see you've got some dots under fast blur and also under glow. So let's expand fast blur and let's expand glow. Let's move this up a little bit. Okay, so here you can see all your keyframes. You'll see you've got keyframes for the glow radius, the glow intensity, for the blurriness of course, and also the full color. So what you can do now, you can take some of these keyframes, let's select those keyframes and just drag them over to around 10 seconds. So now you've got a slow animation because you moved all your keyframes to the back, and it's going to basically take 10 seconds for those changes to take effect. Okay, let's delete this layer and start with a new layer. So I'm going to right click, new, and then we're going to create a solid again, and this time I'm going to change the dimensions of the solid. So for the width, I'm going to make it 50 pixels, And for the height, I'm going to also make that 50. So we've got a little square. And let's change the color to something bright. Hit OK and then OK to confirm. And as you can see, the square is a little bit small. So let's just edit that. So an easy way to edit the solid is to click on the solid and then at the top click on layer and then solid settings. That will take you into that parameter again, and we can change the width to around 150 and the height to 150 as well. Okay, then click OK to confirm that. And now we've got a little square in the middle of our composition. So what I want to do, I want to go to the position parameter of the solid and I want to enable animation for that. So just expand your layer, expand transform, and then next to position, I'm going to click the stopwatch. Okay, so that created a keyframe for us at the first frame. Okay, and then make sure you're on your selection tool, and then we're just going to click and drag the box to the top corner. Okay, let's go over to around 3 seconds on our timeline, and then just drag that box over to the side. Let's go over to 5 seconds on the timeline, and then drag that box downwards. And let's go over to 7 seconds. Let's take it this side, and then at 10 seconds we can take it back to the top. Okay, let's play that back from the beginning. Okay, and you see we've got a very simple animation going on. So let's say you want to compress that whole animation over just 3 seconds. How are we going to do that? An easy way to do this is just highlight all these keyframes. So just draw a box around all these keyframes, and then you hold in Alt on your keyboard, and then you just click one of them and drag, and you'll see that it will actually compress that whole animation, all the keyframes together, into the new duration that you give it. So let's drag it to around 3 seconds, and if I play this back from the start, you'll see that the animation will play back a lot quicker because it's now compressed over 3 seconds. Okay, let's add a quick rotation animation to this box as well. So on the first frame, let's enable the stopwatch next to rotation, and let's go to the 3rd second mark, and let's create a 360 degree rotation. So just type in 360, hit enter, let's go back to the beginning and press space to play that. And there we go, we've got a very simple animation. So that's working with keyframes and animation in After Effects. And also remember to check out VideoFort.com and buy a sweet t-shirt. Right, I'll see you guys in the next video.